The experience of working on the Big Bash was amazing, but just seeing the fans turn out to watch the game, I think, is the thing that struck me the most. Young boys and girls coming, at 8 o'clock every evening to watch a game of domestic cricket that'd have, every venue you went to would be sold out. I still remember a couple of years ago at the MCG, we had 84,000 there for a local derby game. I mean, the game has grown and come on in leaps and bounds over the last 5 years, and there's no doubt that just the broadcasters, I think, played a huge part in that. So I'm excited to be doing it again, obviously for the next couple of years, with a network that's renowned for some of the best sports broadcast in the world. So, and to be with some familiar faces again, I think will make it that little bit more special.
Teammates together again.
Well,
the dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I actually first met Rick at the Cricket Academy. You were just a young fellow, I was a little bit older, and I think we've got a lot of similarities through our career. We made our debut, first class debut out here back in January '93. I think Adam Gilchrist made his debut in that same match, New South Wales versus Tassie. Did we beat you guys? Probably.
I doubt it.
Anyway.
I know I got 100 though.
I got 5 first, so yeah, it was good. But yeah, and then obviously going on playing for Australia, and then when Rick took over as captain, and we made him look pretty good. So it was, yeah, it's great, and that's what I love about commentary. When I retired, commentating was something I was never going to do. I remember going up into the box when I was playing, and you'd see the commentators get all excited when the batsman hit a boundary, and I thought, how can you do that? And I thought. But then I've done a little bit of commentary, more so radio, and actually really enjoyed it and got back in it. And it's a game we have so much passion about. But on the personal side, and probably the selfish side, all our old teammates are so busy, and we don't really get to catch up. But it's a one time of the year, everyone seems to be in the same place. And to be with Rick and Flemmo and the other boys, it's going to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, no doubt about it. In terms of captaining him, I think you've actually said that he might have been the most difficult to lead.
Yeah, he lied.
Is that fair?
I was probably put on the spot to a certain degree answering that question. But no, the only reason he was difficult was he didn't want to ever stop bowling. That was the bottom line. At some stage I had to go and tell him, mate, you need to have a rest. And he'd pull his shirt over his mouth and utter something that I probably can't repeat here. And then I'd have to go to slip and then put up with him for the next hour around the ground. But no, look, he's right. I mean, playing along some of the guys I got to play with and captain did make my job a lot easier. I was lucky to play in a generation of unbelievably good players with some of the all-time greats of the game, not just Australian players, but some of the great players the world's ever seen. So, yeah, we had lots of great times on the field, and I agree with what Glenn said then, to get back together. I mean, we would have seen each other probably a dozen times since we finished playing together. I've had a little bit less luck with Flem, I've had to see him a lot more over the last 5 years, but no, we'll certainly enjoy ourselves. But more importantly, I think it's up to us now to do the best that we can to give the fans and the viewers a different perspective on the game. I'm still heavily involved around the Australian team. I'm coaching in the IPL, so the tactical and technical side of the game that I think I can bring to the average fan will hopefully be something that they'll enjoy. That's what I've tried to do for the last few years with the Big Bash, and I think most of that seemed to go pretty well. So we'll enjoy doing what we're doing, but more importantly, we've got to be serious about putting out the best product that we can as well.
And just going back to that era, you were pretty good yourself, just so you know. It's not all about Glenn and,
I love working with you.
Well, just for the record, let me get that straight. And Flem, the bowlologist, he's probably got, let's get this out of the way, he does have a book. He's probably selling signed copies, probably, yeah.
Not selling, giving them. Let's get that.
Yeah, fair. And Glenn, let's get this out of the way. What was your highest score with the bat? You say you're pretty decent with the bat as well.
Well, it was nice that occasionally a few guys hung around with me. Number 11's a tough spot to bat, and the funny thing is my 3 highest test scores were all with Jason Gillespie at the other end, so it was nice to see a fellow fast bowler hang around. But yeah, had a bit of fun, 61.
Yeah, not bad.
Which is nearly 10 times my average. And to put it into perspective, I think you can see Rick's average up there. Not really. What is it? 52, 53, whatever. That's like Rick going out and getting 530 in an innings. So it was good fun.
There's a really funny story just on the back of that. So I don't know if anyone's watched the highlights of us, Gilly and I, just sitting in the viewing room at the Gabba, just absolutely laughing our heads off every time he got a boundary away. He actually hit 6 too, didn't he? That day?
No, I've seen the footage and to see your faces of massive big smiles, but that look of total sheer disbelief is something I remember.
But going back to your point, like normally when a batsman makes a landmark sort of score, like Brian Lara made 500, Matthew Hayden made 380 in a test match, normally the next week your bat company will bring out a set of stickers that will say, Brian Lara 501. Well, the next week Glenn McGrath rocks up to a test match with a new sticker on his bat, the Glenn McGrath 61.
I
True
had
story?
to ask for that too, so, which I think is fair enough.
How many times are we going to hear 61 on the coverage?
Well, probably about half or 10% of the time you'll hear about Flemmo's hat-trick. So, did you ever take a test wicket, Rick?
Quite a few.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, cool.
We might hear about those as well. There we go.
Yeah.
Well, you've got the microphone. Fair enough. I'll ask both of you. You've obviously been over in England amongst the team, the one-day team. Where's the team at? We know, obviously, not to get too serious, but we know, what happened a couple of months ago. The rebuild. Where do you think the team's at? The results didn't go to plan, but in terms of,
Well, one thing
picture.
I do know is we've got still, I think, the best depth of any cricket nation in the world, and I'll continue to say that. We've got some of the boys and girls here today. We'll keep producing great players, and one thing I also know, having been around the group for the last few weeks, is the environment that Justin Langer will create around that team will be a place that everyone will just get better. They'll just improve. They'll love the environment, and with a big summer coming up, India coming out for the test matches, then I'm really excited to see what the boys can produce there. And then it's not, it's only another 12 months to the next one-day World Cup, and with the last 5 games, the results obviously not going Australia's way, it gave an opportunity for some young blokes to get some cricket under their belts, and then in 12 months' time, I think we're talking to the boys then, there's 16 one-days to be played between now and the next World Cup, and I'll guarantee you when you put the Australian group of 15 players down on a sheet of paper, then that group will line up as good as any other team in the world. So I'm really excited about what the future holds, not just right now, but for the next 20 years, because we are a passionate cricket-loving nation that will keep producing good players, and I'm excited to be involved where I can with the boys again, with the team. I'll do a fair bit of stuff around the white ball cricket. I won't do any test cricket stuff, but I know that we've got some seriously good players that at their best will challenge any team in the world in any conditions.
That's what we want to hear. And Glenn, obviously the test series coming up against India. We've got obviously a long history with India. It's not going to be easy. Just give us some insight into what we can expect, and obviously maybe the fiery background we have.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a tough series without a doubt. Hopefully our 3 quicks in Paddy Cummins, Mitch Starc and Josh Hazlewood are back at 100%. If they are, that's going to make a huge difference. So, and I'm sure they will be. But India are not a bad team. They've got a decent bowling attack. Obviously, they've got some good spinners as well, but they've got a pretty handy fast bowling attack as well. But it's their batting lineup, and sort of led by captain Virat Kohli. Kohli's got he's a bit of an aggressive attitude, but it showed last time he was out here. He's not going to take a backward step. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting summer. Looking forward to it. I want to see Australians put pressure on Kohli and just see how he handles it. But it's going to be a good, hard, tough series. Obviously, with Steve Smith and Dave Warner not there, it leaves a little bit of a gap. But like Rick said, we've got the young guys coming through, and it's their opportunity to get out there and impress. So fingers crossed, it can be a good, solid series with Australia just getting across the line 4-0.
Yep. Narrowly. And of course, the women's game. I can't wait to see it. I saw when the WBBL started, I think it was at the MCG, and the crowds, they started coming early, and then just more and more came, and it was an absolute hit of all different forms of the women's game, and it's long overdue, and I can't wait to see it on Channel 7.
Absolutely. I mean, our women are the best cricket team in the world, there's no doubt about it. And to see the Australian women's team play, and then you see them play against some of the other countries around the world, it just goes to show how far ahead we are. Obviously, the Women's Big Bash has played a big role in that as well. And, when we turn up to commentate the men's games, there's already huge crowds here to watch the curtain raise, not the curtain raise, the women's game before it. It's been absolutely fantastic, and I'm sure we'll hear from Alyssa in a little while about just how big an impact that Women's Big Bash has had on not only the cricket but their livelihoods as well, which is well and truly deserved and probably long overdue, to be honest. So I've loved watching the women's game grow in Australia over the last 10 or 15 years, and hoping to be around it a lot more over the next few years.
It's so